HarperCollins presents The Remembrancer's Tale by David Zindell. Read by Ethan Kelly. To Marianne, who has stuck with me through everything and all. Part 1. Into the Inferno. Chapter 1. In Neverness, they called Thomas Raine Lord Remembrancer, or sometimes the Remembrancer, the man with the perfect memory who could never forget. On the evening before the day of Maria's funeral, Raine stood on the shore of the frozen sea, remembering. How very much he remembered. How Maria had loved watching the seals sun themselves on the rocks of North Beach, and listening to their barks and moans. With deep winter now taking hold of Neverness Island, the sleek grey seals had sought shelter down in their holes beneath the ice, leaving their favourite rocks and the whole of the beach deserted. With only some birds for company, Raine kept his vigil alone. He called to mind the times when Maria had stood here with him, waiting for supernovas to appear out of the sky's glittering blackness, much as cave dwellers on old Earth had long ago watched for shooting stars. It was a very human thing to do. In a time when many peoples across the galaxy were leaving their humanity behind them, or trying to, Maria had reminded him how much he relished being a man and how very good it was to be alive. She had touched others in similar ways. His favourite student, Sanjay, had concocted a little fancy about Maria. The whirling spiral arms of the Milky Way could be seen as the centre of the trillions of galaxies around it, because from the very stuff of the galaxy's stars had evolved the human race. And the civilized worlds were certainly the centre of the galaxy, for on the 3,000 or so planets from Yarkona and Uradeth, across the stellar Falloways to Kittery and Kirdun, humanity had reached its finest flowering. And Icefall, upon which Raine stood looking up at the bright constellations, had long been recognized as the topological nexus of the civilized worlds, indeed of the entire galaxy. In the deep space above his cold planet, many billions of pathways through the manifold converged into a singularity, a sort of way station that opened upon countless other stars. And Neverness was the centre of Icefall, though the planet's original people and animals spread out across many frozen islands might dispute this belief. And the Order, which had put down roots in the spires, libraries, and halls of the Academy pushed up against the mountains to the east, centred the life of the City of Light and gave Neverness its purpose. And Maria had come to this Axis Mundi as from out of nowhere, bringing her own dazzling light. And so she had become, in a way, the centre of the Order and of the whole universe itself. How quickly her brightness had called the Orders and historians, its eschatologists, notationists, and all the others to gather around her. And how that had always seemed to Raine so strange. For he was of the Order of Mystic Mathematicians and other seekers of the ineffable flame, and the pilots who plied the most difficult of mathematics in guiding their lightships from star to star had always been seen as the soul of the Order. The pilots, though, explored the galaxy's physical spaces only, whereas Maria, in the poems that she composed on beaches such as this, and then recited in the Hofgarten or the Fravashi Green, or in other public places, sought a much deeper kind of discovery. She spoke to the most ancient longings of the Order's academicians and high professionals, the pilots, too, and it was as if the warmth of her musical voice held the secret of kindling that mysterious, ineffable flame. Sanjay's sister, Chandra, had upbraided Sanjay for centering all things around humanity and Maria in particular, and she was right to do so, even though he had offered his conceit in the spirit of play. One thing, though, Raine could not deny, in little time, Maria had become his centre. If the star of Neverness ceased exerting its force of attraction, Icefall and the other planets orbiting it would spin off into the emptiness of space.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?